I think Maine's gonna be crazy. I think Maine's gonna be crazier than Michigan for sure. I think it's gonna be a serious time. So I'm super excited.
Yeah.
What what are you gonna have like taken down and ready to go there for me to
Okay.
smoke?
Yeah. So definitely the RP1.
Wait, what's
I
that?
think
What's that? What's that?
RP1 is from Bloom. It's a mix of Chem D and sour garlic cookies.
What does it lean towards?
A lot of them were on the sour garlic GMO type side, but I did have a couple chem leaners. The thing was, I ran that twice, right? First pack that I popped, everything was super weird. Like it all seemed like it had hemp latent viroid or something. There was so much like variegation, but like virusy looking, not like chem looking, right?
Not
Um,
yeah.
Super stunted, very low cannabinoid content. Like I just tore it down early and ran it for fucking hydrocarbon, and even that ran like shit. The second pack of that I ran from them didn't have any of the virusy traits, but was extremely intersex. Like every fucking plant, all over the plant, um, just really bad. So I'm not running it again. So I'm gonna mash all of them together into a mixed pheno. Yeah. Yeah. I was holding
So
on to the clones, like just in case something was ridiculous. I wanted to try to see if I could be delicate with it and not have the insect, but like I fucking hate when pollen is in my rooms when I don't want it in my rooms.
damn, that's not a good look. Now that you're talking about it, I remember when Bloom dropped those RP1s. That was a big, a hyped up thing. So to hear that on
Yeah.
two packs from a grower like you, I think I have a couple of those packs, so that's not good.
Careful, bro,
What
because Mission Hill told me about somebody else that grew them and exact same experience as me.
Jesus, man, that's not
Yeah.
good to hear. What else is either getting the chopper or sticking around and coming out?
So I'm going to I might do a single wash of a Sunday driver plant just so I have it because I fucking love these terps so much. Just so much. Um I'm definitely gonna have my whole plant fresh frozen Mac 1, which washes at like 2.5 to 2.8%. Not really worth it, but dude, the terps on the fresh frozen are so insane. I love it so much. So I'm gonna have a whole bunch of that. And that will be like select micron hand wash, fucking tip top. And then I have a couple other things in there. I'll be doing the citrus palisade papaya mixed
What's the
wash.
terps on your Mac? What's the terps like on your Mac? Because there's so many
Yes,
different ones out there.
right. So mine are not the Jack Terps. Mine are not the Trainwreck Terps. They're also not the pasta water Terps, which I feel like are people just growing Mac One really poorly. Um, it's kind of sour. It's kind of gas, and there's just like a tiny, tiny, tiny hint of something fruity in there that makes it complex. So it's not just like sour gas. It's a very complex flavor, and it reminds me of stuff that I had like in my late teens, maybe. That was like when stuff was just like, this is kind bud, or like this is, like whatever you're calling the tip top. Like this is 16/8, not 60 an ounce. Like fucking. Um, and every now and then I would get stuff that smelled just fucking like this. And it brought me right back to that the first time I smelled that Mac One. So like it grows super
Interesting.
slow, right? It's
Interesting.
definitely the mutant type where it doesn't take pollen. I've had that in so many rooms that have gotten pollinated. It's never once produced one single seed. And you should grow it sea green style. You should not top it once rather than a single plant in a 30. You should do four in a 30 because I grow in 30s. And they're like in their own separate thing. Normally, if you do four plants per planter, they like cross each other and they're really hard to take down. Dude, it's like a fucking perfect bush. Oh, yeah, just I whatever. I like Mac One a lot.
What else?
So outside of that, I don't have a ton. I have some Trop glue that's on like the creamy side. I was hoping to find the fuel fucking Trop glue pheno in that because it you sneezed when you smelled the flower. Like the terps are that fucking offensive and strong and in your face. But I didn't find it. What was there was nice. That's gonna be a really small wash. And then I have guava bars. I probably won't bring any of that with me unless I do have some GB1. And I like that. That's like on the guava Z type thing. The other one is just like a little gassy, a little farty, like not my favorite terp. So the GB2 definitely won't come up with me. And I don't know if I'll. Oh yeah, I'm pulling a bunch of stuff on the 19th. So like I'll have to see what that is. I'll have to go down and look at the tags. But I do have more stuff coming down the 19th.
Do
That
you have
stuff that I
more?
just listed was in the freezer.
Are you gonna have more of that Pops Deuce or no?
No,
Oh.
unfortunately, I'm
That
not.
that that is the grapiest grape I've ever graped.
No, that's gonna be like I'm pulling that a couple days after I get back. Unfortunately,
Sheesh,
no.
that
But
was a treat.
I can
That
I
was something
can
I'd
I
never
can
tried.
definitely do a single wash of the Sunday driver and bring that up because like dude, if you're impressed with grape terps and stuff, like I won't get into what my best friend calls it, but the best tasting fucking stuff that I had was in rosin form was this cut from my understanding.
The Sunday driver. Is it a
The
grape
Sunday
leader?
driver. It's
That
a grape candy. It's a grape candy leaner. It's allegedly the number 10 cut from Jungle Boys. I have no clue if that's true or not, but it's just like the first time I smelled the terps in hydrocarbon, I thought someone had added fake terps to it because it smelled that unfucking real. Yeah.
that
So I tried to get the cut multiple times. Like the last time I was up in Maine, I grabbed it and it was -4 out. And like I had it in a cup. I started my car. I fucking drove to wherever I was going. And like when it was in the back seat and when we got to where we were going, thing was just leaning. I was like, oh, there's no way. Like I walked 5 feet until I got to my car, like, and the car warmed up pretty quick. Like there's no way it's dead. But yeah,
yeah,
dead,
yeah.
dead. And then the other time, like I
I've
just
definitely
forgot.
done that. I've killed clones just zipping from a car inside, and just cold outside. They fucking don't like that.
That
Even
fucking
at the
Canadian
top.
cold up there, bro.
Oh, bro, bro, silly stuff. Where you're like, oh, they'll be okay. They're in. Sometimes if they're in a dome, they're okay, but not bare skin. They won't survive. They look like they'll survive, and then they'll just die. Um,
Mhm.
the cold will kill them. Yeah,
But yeah, it's really amazing. And I should see what it washes at, so I can do a test wash of that one. Bring it up with me.
that's awesome. Man, that
Mhm.
turd chest you had was something going through that. That was a treat. Oh, and you have the citrus
Mhm.
palisades, which is the Mosa terps kind of.
Yeah, so but I'm running that with the sharp boozy papaya. So I'm doing a mix wash.
Oh, okay. That would be dope.
And actually that's what I'm doing first, so I'll be doing that hopefully tomorrow. And those rolls, the pre-rolls, like or the donut rolls with that
Oh
and
yeah,
the
yeah,
big
yeah, yeah.
herb flour. So I should have those with me for up there too.
Those would be good. I'll
Yeah.
smoke that flower. I'll smoke that
Yeah.
flower for sure.
Me too. Yeah, like I don't smoke fucking flower, and I rolled a joint of that with like 3-month-old room temp fucking sitting out citrus palisades and papaya. Yeah, it was crazy good. So
Is it your
excited for
rosin
fresh.
in there too?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. My
Yeah,
rosin. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. So the joint that I tried was the people that gave me that cut of papaya. It was their rosin, but then my citrus palisades. But they run for production, not you know. So
For
it
sure,
should
for
come
sure.
out at
For
least
sure,
that
for
fire.
sure. It was grown with love.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you were to run a setting, uh, Mikey, would you run those 30 gals or would you run beds indoors?
Um, so one, it would depend on the laws within the state because I know Pennsylvania is super weird about what you can and cannot do. If I just had free reign, it would depend on the goals of my company, right? Like how am I putting myself out there? Am I putting myself out there as the most regenerative person and environmentally friendly as I can be? then yeah, I'm probably gonna go with beds. Am I putting myself out there as I'm an organic grower that is trying to create the absolute 100% best product and slightly less worried about how regenerative or how nice that is to the environment? I would do 30s at most, and I would do add an organic feed in with that, like a liquid organic feed.
Why do you
So
think that's not environmentally friendly to do it in 30 gallons? I think it still can be.
Right. So I think it definitely can be. I think that if you're doing the organic feed into those, um, that it's not going to be as nice on the soil biology as if you were just running it in big beds and kind of letting nature do more of the work.
Yeah.
And so I think that you may have to incorporate more soil,
yeah, yeah, for sure,
like from outside sources and
for
stuff. Yeah.
For sure.
for
Yep.
sure. I mean,
Yeah.
like
I
we
just
have
don't
to
think you
like
do the reason.
not judge. Yeah, yeah. I don't think being like the most regenerative out of the gate is going to be um what like hits somebody with success or provide somebody with a successful business plan. It's like having the goal of getting there and then working towards it. But like if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. Like I think Steve Cantwell out of Vegas is probably leading the way on living soil beds indoors, regenerative soil beds, like um and those like I'm pretty sure he's planting right back into. He might be leaving them to let sit after harvest for a few weeks or maybe even a few months. I'm actually not sure about that, but like he's leading the way on beds, and I think that's a really cool way to do it. But like I also like the idea of um 30 gals just from like a regulation standpoint and a movability standpoint for smaller farmers. Like, a lot of farms are moving into retrofitted buildings and things, and like having 4x8s on rollers coming in and out of doors is not what these buildings were designed for. And sometimes these redesigns take, just too costly. And it's like, hey, listen, man, we want to be beds one day, and like one day we'll have enough money to to be in beds in a new place, but like that doesn't work for us right now. And like I talk to a lot of Canadian groups that are like they think that they know that they want to be organic regenerative growers as much as they can be, but they don't know the first thing about it, and they're not in the community, and they're not like too dedicated to it. They're just sort of corporate people who say like we like that idea, and like we'd like to be painted with that brush. And it's like, we're growing in 4 gals in living soil, and we're
Right.
organic, and it's like, bro, you're growing in plastic buckets in 4 gals. You're not living. You're growing in, you could say it's soil, but
It's
my
hard to put regenerative when you're
indoors.
indoors under
Yep.
lights.
Yes.
That
So
doesn't make
the
sense. Unless you're solar.
the right.
I think
The
the
the guy
regenerative
that was
aspect
asking
is
me,
the soil, is you're regenerating. Hopefully, you're regenerating soil. I'm
If
just
you're
trying to glass half full it.
degenerating, yeah.
I'm glass
Yeah, I
half
get that.
fulling it, and like there's going to be a lot of indoor. So we like don't we as a regenerative organic community, like we can't dismiss indoor. Like there's a lot of people who just like psh, indoor is not. Listen, there's going to be indoor, and if they want to practice, they want to be as close to that this community, this side of thinking, and farther away from bottled nutrients and things like that. Like we have to support them and like talk about ways that they can do it better. But like in Canada there's a lot of places where like if you want uh there's a significant amount of places where you're pretty much forced to grow indoor if you want to grow all year round. And so like it's going to happen, and there's going to be a lot of people who want to grow organically. And so I think like
so
talking about like best ways,
let's talk about two different styles then, right? Because this is a
sure.
good thought project with that guy that I talked about that was doing the vertical regenerative, which is an extremely weird and hard to do task, right? Um, so he's
Yeah.
trying to do 5 stacks high and he wants this to be regenerative, the reusing soil, every organic, like, because that was the basis of how they formed their company. So in order for them to, like, they would just have to start a whole new company, all new marketing, advertising, everything like that. So they want to stay within the bounds of this, but they're doing that in a very unique system. So he was actually asking me about 30s for that system because they want to be able to not have to pull them up and down from these racks because you're going 5 high. And I'll tell you what, I used to, so my 30s are on 55-gallon dollies. I used to drill holes into the bottom of those, just offset of the wheels, hook a strap around my back, and fucking carry those 30 gallons up and down stairs out to my garage to get the root balls out of them. Because I realized you can't do no-till, like 5-foot plants in 30 gallons and expect that that root ball, especially third cycle, isn't going to be a nightmare. Those worms aren't getting through that. It's too much. You can't do that, right? You have to, if you're doing plants in 30s that you're doing no-till, you have to do pretty fucking small plants for the worms to be able to keep up with repeatedly throwing these big root balls in there.
Yep.
So, right, how do you reuse soil? How do you make stuff mobile? How do you deal with that root ball issue, right? So,
Another
with the
issue,
30,
sorry to interrupt, another issue is
no.
crop rotation. A huge concept of organic farming is crop rotation so you have healthy soil. And how you can do that in permaculture is diversity. And indoor living beds, when you have rows of cannabis and a little bit of cover crop underneath, isn't necessarily fully like rotating your crops or creating enough diversity.
Cover
So
crop.
there's, I don't know. I agree we should want people to come into regenerative, but I think regenerative really should be the staple where we're going and like a benchmark of fully closing your loop, you know? Like,
Yeah.
but like move towards regenerative. Like, I'm not 100% regenerative, and I'll admit that. I'm moving towards it, and I'm planting more plants, and like, you know, it's a goal, I guess.
So, like,
But I
with
think you
the,
can be organic and not regenerative. You know, it's not the
I
same
agree.
thing.
Yeah. So, with thinking
Regenerative.
about the, no,
Go.
you're good, man. So we're thinking about the regenerative aspect of this, right? With the 30 gallons, like I have to take them out. I have to sift the soil. I have to remove all of that mass because the biodiversity within the pot itself isn't going to handle that. So then I can take that. I can use that for vermicompost, or I can compost that, or I can also grind stuff up, use it for top dress, like we've talked. And that holds really good fungal matter. So that helps to close the system a little bit, but like that's also a big task, right? Is moving all these 30s, sifting them, everything like that. So how do you deal with something that's more production friendly? So especially we were talking about the 5 rack system where you're trying to reuse soil. So the idea that I came up with was the R&D stuff that I do upstairs, where I treat the bed like it's living soil, but I keep it very shallow, and then I do either bottomless pots or pots where the roots have just grown through the hole on the bottom. And then I feed into those pots, but I don't feed heavy enough that's really going out into the beds. And then whenever I'm watering the bed, I water it like it's a living soil. You know, I'm adding microbes, I'm adding things that are beneficial to the soil. So what you could do is just do bottomless pots, Steve Cantwell style, place those pots right on top of a shallow living soil bed, do a drip feed of an organic feed into the little pots itself, right? And then that living soil bed, you could just do the same type of thing where it's a water only or only beneficials into that. And then when you're done, that root ball is mostly in that small bottomless pot, and like it's still able to go out, and as it's flowering and everything, it's still going into the rest of the soil, which is giving it that really diverse amount of different compounds it's able to formulate into terpenes, into thiols, into all the different things that make it taste better. So like to me, you're getting kind of the best of everything there, where you're able to control the feed really well. You're reusing the vast amount of soil, but not all of the soil. Like you can do it in a quick turnaround. It's very production friendly. I'm sure running that you would find some things that you would want to fine tune, but that's just kind of where my mind goes.
Yeah. I guess if I was doing beds indoors, I would want to have compost piles outside. I wouldn't completely be doing no-tilled beds, but I would do like 3 cycles. I'd take that soil outside, maybe use it in a different bed and grow a bunch of beneficials that I can then mix into the compost and make a really nice compost, and then put that back in the beds. And
Mm-hmm.
just keep that cycle going where you're able to put it through the compost and get it to heat up to 160, where you're getting rid of you're getting to your thermophilic microbes, killing off all the other ones because that temperature change. You're doing a sterilization, but keeping your microbes high. So I would incorporate a huge compost pile into your cycling.
Yeah.
And then you're not going to have as many issues if you're just leaving your beds indoors for 7+ years, letting other things take over.
Yeah. Which
But
definitely indoor,
I would do
no
people
till.
beds outside is what I do, and I would do that if I could.
Yeah.
Large scale.
I agree 100% that like I would like so like my preferable thing would be a very high tech greenhouse with like Hugo bed style beds.
Yep. I have
Yeah.
this thing designed where I have 2 sections, and I have enough roof space over my lab to put a bunch of solar panels to power half of the room. And then if I
Mm-hmm.
had batteries, my thought is I could put one 12-12 and reverse them so they're on at different times, but then also have it so I can use the sun and have light depths with lights, and then separate, but solar to the lights when you need it, early
Mm-hmm.
in cycles. I'll have to show you this design one day in private.
Yeah,
So
man. It sounds.
my
Go
thought
ahead.
about the Steve Cantwell style bottomless pot is that a tremendous amount of activity happens in the top few inches of the soil. And so when
Mm-hmm.
you're asking the plant to drive these roots down into, your shallow bed. Um, this is untested, right? Like, I don't know if, and Steve, I mean, I'm sure I've missed a podcast of his that he maybe talks about this, but like to me, it just like when I went and saw Kevin Jodry's beds on at his farm on top of this mountain, they're 12 inches deep. That's it. Like
Yeah.
the wood is 12 inches deep, and the soil is not mounded over the wood. And these plants are fucking beasting. And so like that changed my whole like, width not depth kind of thought thinking. And then so then when I see these things, and let's explore this a little bit more, because I've seen guys in Humboldt with these techniques where they're exposing the roots, like they're actively pouring water to expose roots to drive that root growth down. And my thought is to always gingerly take care of that top 2 inches and maintain moisture, because that's where, like, in my beds, like when I get in there close, like I can, like, you put your finger in close there and you can feel ripping like all those little tiny little micro roots, and you're like, oh man, there's so much. And then you go a little bit away from the plant and you put your finger in and you feel the same ripping, and you're like, oh fuck, like there's a lot fucking going on right here. I'm best to just leave all this alone. So
Yeah.
what do you guys think about that?
In nature, your leaves fall on the soil, and you have what's called your O layer. It's the organic matter layer. So plants naturally take nutrients from the top layer of soil to taproots for water. Nutrients aren't as mobile. Water is highly mobile. So it's easy for it to pull water from low nutrients. They'd rather take it close to the plant. So that's what you said I would agree with, where, the shallow beds make sense. You want to protect that top layer, I think. I want to
Could you
mulch
repeat the
the hell
part?
out of it. What was
Could
that?
you repeat the part? Could you repeat the part where you said about it wanting to pull nutrients from close to the plant?
Yeah, so um, In nature, plants have gotten used to your leaves and your nutrients fall on the top layer of the soil. No one's burying these nutrients, right? So it breaks down
Mhm.
naturally. And in soil, you have multiple layers. You have your O layer, which is the very top. That's your organic matter layer. And then it's like B or A, B, C, whatever. But most of your nutrients are right there. Below that, you're going to have clays and sands and silts, but most of your organic matter is up top. And the point of the taproot is to move water. It's to drive down and get to the water table, right? All those
Right.
webbing roots on top spread out in your organic layer, your O layer, where all the food is. I want to mulch that and keep building that
So
layer.
yeah, so what ramifications does having an 8 inch depth, or whatever it is, 6 inch that he does, Steve? I think it's 6 or 8 inches. Like, call it 8 inch depth to get down. Like, maybe
Can
you
I
you hunt. Sorry, go ahead.
can I add to this, right? Because I feel like
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is
yeah.
this is pulling into the direction I was wanted to ask Tom. So here's my deal, right? Is that when you're starting your plant, right, it's going to for me, I notice that it colonizes that top layer of nutrient roots nice and fast, right? Like I'm always seeing those little ones poking out right at the edges of the 30s when I peel it back. Like those are some of the first things that I'm seeing. If I have to pull a plant because there's something weird like going on with it. Again, I know it's the top layer of roots forming much faster than the lower ones. Um, Other than maybe like one or two big ones fucking going down there for the water, right? So when you're dealing with the dual thing, right? So say this, right? So say this is my 30, right? Say this is my original planter that I'm putting into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now if what the heck? If you're dealing with a bed, right? So it's a little bit different. But the top has already been really saturated, right? In this little pot where all the roots are up here and it's trying to take in A nutrients from the top of the soil. So unless you're really heavily feeding that, there's probably not much left there, right? But
Yeah.
then you have outside of this whole surface, right? So the roots that are already down at the bottom, in my opinion, before they drive down more so for the water, they're going to go out and catch more of that more nutrition out through the side. So I feel like the dual root zone, especially in beds where you can go really wide out from that original single pot, where you're definitely not getting any more nutrition out of the top layer of soil. I feel like that's really good for pulling in nutrients with the dual layer versus just taking that entire pot, pushing it down where the root ball is already down below that surface layer, and I feel like it kind of has to come up and I feel like it's just slower to kind of whatever. I was rambling on there, but if you get conceptually what I'm talking about, how do you feel
Yeah.
about that?
No, no,
There's
no.
there's
I got you.
more. Yeah. No, I think it's not that the plant can't take nutrients up from lower down. It's just easier, path of least resistance. It's years of evolution of getting used to just taking that O layer. So, I don't know if I answered your question right, but that was kind of, um, you're still going to be getting those nutrients in the bottom pot for sure,
Right.
and you're still
Yeah.
benefiting. And the plant wants to spread more roots, so
Yeah, I feel like it's just it's giving it like rather than having to try to I don't know. I just feel like it gives it a fresher access to nutrients or something like that. I've just seen a beneficial out of even the
You
30
think it's
gallons.
better? You think it's better? So let me just clear this up.
Yeah.
You think it's better to have uh like a one
The,
gal with a bottomless on top of a 30 than to have that same transplanted into the 30 or
I
no?
will tell you from a water only perspective, I found it easier to keep the plants healthier that way for sure. Um, And then also the other benefit of that is forced feeding to that
Why
1
do you
gallon.
say from a water only perspective? Like what do you mean when you say that? Like as opposed
I
to
ran
if
so I
I did this, I would actually prefer X. You know what I mean?
Right. So I'm always trying to think about different variables and how they're affecting the whole. And I really wanted to see the limits within soil. So I ran my plants at like 1300 fucking par and like 1500 parts per million CO2 and only watered them. I did water only, no feed. And after, so I was even trying to set them up where I could do that in a 30-gallon with zero amending, just water the entire time, growing a 5 foot tall plant under really heavy metabolic conditions, right? So, like, I'm putting them into very stressful places doing that, right? They're going to run out of nutrients, shit's going to get fucked up. And what I saw was that when I used the bottomless pot technique and restricted to myself within those parameters, I saw healthier plants with the dual root zone than I did just burying that root ball into the 30.
Interesting, bro. That's so fucking interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. And then after that,
What
like,
would
then I went
wait,
to
wait.
amendments.
Cover crop or just like
Cover
straw
crop though. So no,
crop?
it was cover crop. But like so it would be cover crop. When I would flip it, I would pull the cover crop up a little bit to try to destroy the roots, turn it over, add a little bit of grow kashi, throw straw on top, and that would be it. And then it would be just the worms doing their thing. Like, and I would load it with amendments really heavy at first, and I would put those pots in 20-gallon totes. I had a whole fucking wall of these things, right? Where I was just mixing soil, throwing it in 20-gallon totes, throw some worms in there, let it sit for like 2.5 months, and then throw it into the 30s and try the water only.
Interesting.
Just seeing what the limitations of that were
Like what
versus
was your
being able to amend as I go.
Josh in the chat, he says like, he did this a few summers ago and it increased density in the bud. Do you agree with that? Do you agree with like any morphology changes from double stacking or I don't know if that's the right term, but like, bottomless pot stacking compared to direct
So
transplanting
yeah,
morphologically?
I may have noticed that a little bit with the increase in density because I've talked about this in the chat where I break down things very differently. Where if something is ultra dense, I actually break that down less. And the issue that I run into is that when I'm running my plants really heavy metabolically, you'll have the bracts forming next to each other. When they're growing so densely, eventually they grow into each other. And you'll almost have the inside of the bud looking like a really white or light green or almost whitish. And you'll notice that there's basically no trichomes on the inside of that because there's no fucking place for them to form. So with them, I'm just trying to pull the trichomes off the outside of the head. And I feel like if I sit there and cut up these really dense buds, I'm just exposing a whole shit brick of plant material that's then putting compounds into my wash water that I certainly don't want. I'm not adding any trichomes
Damn.
to that water. So like that is something that I don't do the bottomless anymore. I do different techniques,
Yeah.
and uh, and that has lessened. So uh,
Interesting.
I I think it definitely could have grown denser buds that way
Interesting.
because I'm still running the same like VPD par CO2 type setup. Like I said, I went to amending as I go, and then I went to like organic tea style feeds, and then I did the J Plant Speaker Q for like almost 3 months now. And you have to basically do organic feed on top of that because I find it really fucks up the soil biology at the big head ratio that he recommends.
Yeah,
Um,
which is an obscene amount.
yeah, it's 8 times the label rate, and it's super fucking expensive. But again, like I worked my ass off putting myself in a position where I could do this as a learning experience, not as I'm trying to make as much money out of it as I can experience.
Yeah.
So if I fucking spend, almost 2 racks on Q within a couple of months and fucking see what happens, And
Oh, for sure.
there's a pretty good picture on my page where you can see um, a difference And like it does look like a positive difference where I ran guava bars and I pulled a lot of 90 out of the one where I didn't run with the Q. And I pulled more in the 120 and the one that I did run with the Q. Now it was pulled just slightly earlier, so the color is a little bit better. But like if you look at, there's two pictures of 90 and that picture of the 120 that was ran with the Q, and the 120 does definitely look better. The kill rate is 1 tablespoon per or 1 teaspoon per gallon, which I water with like 20 gallons a fucking day, man. So like 20 teaspoons a day? Yeah. Which,
Thank you for doing that research so I don't have to.
yeah, it's definitely like investment wise, it's definitely not worth it. And like if you're running really, really regenerative, organic, biodiverse soil, I don't, unless you're trying to kill pests or like, unless you really dried out your soil and just need to like saturate it with something like that's high in saponins, I don't, I don't, I won't do it.
Yeah. I mean, unless you saw like that, you were able to see a remarked difference in actual yield, not just head size. Um,
Right.
you gotta be able to justify it there for sure.
Yeah. And so now for like until I'm done in June for a while, and then I'm actually just gonna shut down, but then I'm gonna set up some beds and just grow veggies, nice low risk thing for a while, and work on blue mats, irrigation, everything like that, and really learn those. And until then, I'm going to there's some dudes on the East Coast, Conscious Natural Inputs. So I'm gonna get some stuff from them just so I don't have to start making a whole bunch of KNF. But I'm gonna play with like some KNF type stuff for the last 4 months and see my understanding and limitations within that.
That's dope. That's dope. Are you still gonna like have a little research garden, or are you gonna shut everything down?
So I'm gonna shut everything down. I'm just keeping my keeper cuts, and then what I'm planning on for next fall is that I'm looking into location to do just really really intense R&D work where I'm running like a lot for selections. Let's just put it that way. Like next year is focused on learning irrigation techniques. And that I'm not super worried about. Like, I'll probably throw some personals in there,
Yeah,
at some
yeah.
point. But
I'm
like my
stoked.
main focus is gonna be finding genetics to give to
I'm
people. And
I'm stoked to see you start playing with blue mats, bro. I'm stoked to see like your brain with blue mats because we met that guy. I forget his name right now, but he's got like red hair and
Izzy,
Izzy, yeah. And like that guy, like he's like, yeah, I'm working on some pretty like high level irrigation tech. And then I was like, what kind of tech? And he's like, explain it. I was like, "Oh," like, I think
I
that,
like that guy, man.
I've
yeah,
talked to
yeah,
him on the
yeah,
phone. That guy's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's with Sustainable Village, so shout
Yeah.
out those
Mhm.
to those guys. And yeah, no, I connected with Michael. He did my first blue mat design for my first facility, and yeah, no, it's been cool. I've run like the Steensland program, like Canadian Dabs, like really like huge influence on me and my cultivation and everything. And he runs the Steensland like he 12 to 13 carats at a 4x8, just backups on backups on backups. But like I think that there's so many different really interesting ways to run that system. And like the drip tape is I something like I've used on larger scale cultivations. It's just um uh my home bed, I don't have enough pressure, and I don't want to add a pump into what is an already 4x8 in a house that I very much enjoy
That's
tending to every day.
something else that like I feel like eventually will be more heavily incorporated into designs within cannabis facilities as like the booth growers get in there, fucking, and like Coca-Cola and all them, like less pumps, more gravity fed. Like, what are you doing to
100%, bro.
really increase efficiency? Like what are you
100%.
doing for geothermal type stuff? Like, how are you utilizing the heat within the building? You know?
Yeah. The other thing is like design your facility so that a visitor can come see what you're doing without ever coming into your actual facility. Like, design your facility is the free game. This is free game late night for the few people in the chat. When you're designing your facility, if you design it or tell the people that hired you to design it so that a visitor can come and feel like he's visited without ever coming inside the facility where you know he could contaminate anything, you're going to have a safer, better, happier facility owner operator all around. Because that's the biggest issue is everybody gets excited, these investors that they have this fancy new grow off and they bring all their friends through and it's their friends have dogs and their dogs are at the park and there's thrips at the park and it's just
My fucking yard gets covered with spider mites, bro. I have clover all over my yard, and like you just walk out there and see the little white spots everywhere. So like every
uh,
summer, I have a dog. I gotta fight those spider mites every year.
that's fucking wild.
hmm Luckily, those are way easier for me to take care of than this one species of thrip. Like I've gotten thrips before. I took care of them in fucking one treatment. Like I hung up they were different species and they did eventually fly. So I hung up like the yellow sticky things, and then
Yeah,
I just add rove mites and nematodes, and like I did 2 nematode drenches. Done, done. They
yeah.
were like in 2 weeks. They were fucking completely gone, and like these other ones, man, they're a nightmare. I mean, it's been a great learning experience to what the limitation of like I can do with pests
So you
in
think this is
zero
just like
spray.
a strain of thrip that cucamaras don't eat? Is that what you
Yeah,
think?
so that's so she said when I talked to Suzanne about it, she said that they're down in Philly and a couple other spots in Pennsylvania. And I talked to a lot of growers that are experiencing these fucking thrips that's just like, man, they're nightmares. Like there's not a whole lot that takes them out unless you want to, throw out your
Right.
soil, like reset everything. Or if you continually use Q rate on your soil, those thrips cannot live in that fucking soil. But
Mm-hmm.
like someone like me that runs a continual flower cycle, I can't spray my flower plants with Q and stuff like that. So I could get rid of them completely, but I have to shut down all flowering in order for me to do that, which I'll do in time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If I can beat them without doing that, I will be so fucking happy though. And like great learning.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Tom, what was do you remember what that flavor was that Turb Wizard had out there for me at Regen that I tried of yours? It was so good. I'm just trying to remember the flavor right now.
It was carambula,
That
starfruit.
yeah.
Did you get
Was
that?
that yeah, was that outdoor? Was that full term?
Yeah, that was outdoor. That actually was a volunteer that grew in my
Wow.
lawn, and I only watered it. And it like grew 8 foot tall and huge colas, and I did absolutely nothing for it. It was great.
That came out so nice, bro.
I love that. Yeah,
Um,
that's sour strawberry and Stardog hash plant.
I definitely have tried spiking CO2 firewater flavors. Just asking about spiking CO2, I think we all probably have. Um, you just gotta, monitor everything else, and you can increase. You're adding like a turbo, so like you got to drive the car faster, but you can crash faster. Is my overall take on running CO2 indoors. But like, um, if you want to push like high, and Mikey will talk about this after he rips his dab, but like if you want to push like high PPFD, uh, you're gonna need to spike your CO2 up pretty high.
Yeah.
They said you could spray Q in flour, which I thought was odd since I see a film on it after being in the water and the bubbles recede for sure. Um, there is a bit of a film. I find that film like dries up and goes away, but like Mikey is the Q master, so let him finish his dab and see what he has to say about that. Um, I'm talking about the flash, doing it really high for a few hours. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yo, bro. when you can rip your rooms up super high in temperature, that's great. But Mikey can't because he's running continual harvest and he's just going right back in, so he can't. He can probably for a few hours he probably could. Mikey, can you get your room super hot and do like heat treatments? No,
No,
no.
so when I say continual, I mean continual. Like I'm trying to keep that room stuck full every fucking day. I'm trying to take down 4 plants every week. I'm trying to put 4 plants back in every week. Like that's, like fucking continual. So there is that room is full unless I'm fucking up or my people aren't coming to help me. Like that room is
Yeah,
full at all times.
yeah, yeah. That's
So
why
it's, I
you're
mean, it's
running.
like,
And
and
he's running
sometimes
cover
it's so full,
crops.
it's not even very mobile. Sorry.
Yeah, and you're running cover crops.
No, I
But
did
yeah,
take those out a while back.
when
So
when this other guy Tortuga is saying Jay said you could spray Q in flour. Yeah, Canadian dabs with high CO2. Jay said you could spray Q in flour, which I thought was odd. Since I see a film of it after being in water and the bubbles recede. Have you sprayed it in flour? Have you Canadian dabs either sprayed in flour? I mean, I don't spray much in flour, but what about Mikey?
I haven't sprayed it in flour at all. The only thing that I've ever sprayed in flour is Dr. Zymes and afterwards EM5, which is like a plant cleaner that you could literally wash your fruit with to eat it. Um, so yeah, that's the only thing I've ever used in flour. I'm limiting to myself to that, in the future. If I'm running production, if I'm running for a company, if I'm doing things that matter on my bottom line, I will not hold myself to those morals. Or not even those morals. It's not even a moral thing. It's that I'm trying to hold myself to very, very strict limitations. So that way I'm much more equipped when I have many more tools.
100%. 100%.
Those are the
Yep.
exact same two that all spray in flour.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
funny.
Cool.
Shout out Chad Westport. What up, buddy? That guy does so many shows. You guys should all check that guy out. But yeah, no,
Cool.
I try and stay away from as much spraying as possible. Pretty much immediately when I flip Pro Cop. I tried Pro Cop 1? Iberco loves to rep it for not killing beneficials but killing bad bugs. I've not tried Pro Crop 1. Have you guys? No.
Nope.
So like I said, my issue is that I can easily murder these motherfuckers in veg. Like, so pure crop 1, whatever you want, whatever you want to throw at it, like as long as you're using sprays that are effective on thrips, like I can get fucking rid of them. Yeah, my issue is when I can't use those sprays.
Yeah, true.
So I'm gonna look up real quick what Suzanne recommend. So okay, Suzanne recommended Botanigard WP formula if I'm not worried about uh, being organic. If I am worried about being organic, she recommended Microtrol, which I think she means Microtrol, not Microfoul Disperse, because I believe she would have said that whole name if she did. And I believe Microtrol is some sort of a fungicide type thing.
I would not use those in flour, though.
Yeah, I definitely won't use them in flour either.
Yeah, because I've used those before, but not in flour.
Right.
Not on my plants that I'm smoking, personally.
Right. Yeah, that's like, normally I would just, like, if I'm trying to get rid of those, I would fucking just shut down and clean out that room and heat up the soil or do whatever I needed to do. Rather than being like, let's spray poison on fucking mid-flower. But, companies are good. Like, if you're working, if like, say you're consulting for someone and that person is bottom line friendly, like they don't want to fucking hear that shit. Like, they're not going to want to hear like, well, you should, shut down for an extra couple weeks and do this and that. Like, they're going to want to do that stuff. So, I mean, eventually I will look into what sort of sprays are fine to spray in flower and everything like that. But like, that's not what I'm going to do for my
Uh,
own garden.
Bro,
Yeah.
I listen. Firewater Flavors just said keep it under the first layer of trellis. They pretty much eat vegetation and stay in the cover crop, but yeah, not after week two, haha. But like straight up, like I know a lot of homies running, and they're like they just live with the thrips, and they're just like, hey, yeah, like this bottom foot is pretty much for them, and like gets processed into some secondary product, but like the tops remain pretty clean, and it's just like a constant battle in certain agricultural areas. So like um like I think that sometimes it's just like that. um
Yeah.
I wonder.
This is Matthew Gates told me like that the system that I have, like even when I was trying to get rid of the spider mites, originally it took me like 6 months. Now I can get rid of them fucking right away. Um, like I don't worry at all if I see them in my room, which is great. Like that's why I'm really glad that I held myself to those restrictions, because like spider mites are a nightmare for a lot of people, and especially in a 24/7 continual grow. That's why I don't run cover crop anymore, because it is a vectoring issue. But as long as you don't have cover crop, like man, you can get rid of them fucking spider mites easily.
yeah.
Um, yeah, but yeah, the like that's professionals have told me like some of these things like you can't get rid of in your system. I'm like perfect, impossible task. Let's fucking take it
Well,
head on.
Sign me
it's
up.
with organic IPM. It's never eradication. It's living with. It's how do I
Yeah,
find balance? Like you're never gonna eradicate an organic system because
Yeah.
that's not
right.
organic.
Yeah, I just want to eliminate the pests from that system.
Yeah, that's why it's so hard inside. Like and
Yeah,
Canadian
organic
dabs,
indoors
Canadian
is
dabs, damn near eliminated. Like he's just, but that's just persistent hard work and like just like staying diligent and on top of stuff. Like he just, he's battled a lot of stuff to pretty much damn near non-existence in his garden, which I think is pretty cool. But he's
yeah,
also like quite you know, diligent.
for sure.
hmm
Yeah. Not to say
yeah,
any of you guys aren't. I'm just saying like he
yeah. No, it's great. It's great when you do that. And like I said, like I've been able to do that with pretty much everything other than these stupid fucking super thrips. But whatever, they're a good challenge. It's good
have you
learning.
ever messed with russet mites?
I haven't gotten them. I also used to just keep up a really heavy like natural IPM, so it should have handled anything that was coming into my system. Um, the spider mites were the first thing that like I found that were an actual issue for me. That like the natural just keeping predators in there and keeping everything really healthy uh, took care of. Yeah, and cleanliness is key.
Yeah.
It's hard when you're trying to run 20 pounds of shit in a 5-pound box, because there's not a lot of space to push things out of the way and clean super, super thoroughly.
One interesting concept I learned in the KNF class I took with Drake was you can kind of play nutrients too for your IPM. So like
Mm-hmm.
if you're super nitrogen heavy, bugs are going to want to come in because you have a really swollen cell full of amino acids. If you
Mm-hmm.
give it a bunch of calcium and build up that cell wall, it makes it harder for the bugs to come through. So if you have a bunch of pests, you might pull back from your nitrogen and give it more calcium, and you can kind of
Silica
thicken
too as
the
well,
cell
right?
wall. What's that?
Silica too as well, right? Because that
Silica
helps
too.
build the fungal.
Yep, yep. I'm sure I'm missing a couple other ones, but there's just that concept of instead of trying to put a bunch of aminos in it, work on thickening it up and getting your structure of the cell like thicker. So
Yeah, yeah.
I,
That's
phosphorus might play into that too. I forget though. Maybe not.
trying to eat some of this fucking jelly from or jam, whatever. Do you remember that stuff that Ari made out there?
Oh yeah,
Lost Fruit Pack, bro.
yeah.
This stuff, it tastes so good. And he made it with hash rosin, but like it's fucking jelly or jam or preserves or whatever inside like a dropper bottle. Like that's not meant for that, bro. I get so mad. I'm sitting here like trying to suck it up, and like I can feel a bunch in there, and I fucking can't eat it. Like, oh, man.
I definitely tried that. That stuff was good.
That's too funny.
That's
Tom,
hilarious.
do you usually just run outdoors, or do you have an indoor that you play
I
with?
have indoor as well. Yeah, I do. I'm gonna try to pull light depth and try to get as many harvests as I can outside, and then I have indoor running too all year round.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, Canadian dabs is like every grower battles thrips. It's just inevitable.
yeah.
Yeah, the bastards.
Nematodes, hypoaspis, row beetles every 2 weeks definitely help for sure, for sure, for sure, for sure.
That's exactly what fucking eliminated them when I got them in my upstairs room last time. But it was definitely a different threat. Like fucking
Mhm.
but yeah, that I mean it completely eliminated them. Like it wasn't they were murdered. It was great.
Yeah. Are you washing anything, Tom?
Yeah, in a month, I'm gonna be washing some more of my full melt Stardog, melted strawberries, and then just the Stardog hash plant. And then I have another room coming down in 2 months.
Bro, that's what I had, bro. I had the Stardog hash plant. I didn't have
Yeah,
that. Whatever the other thing was, I was like thinking about it now. I had the Stardog hash plant. That was special, man.
that's
That
my
was
favorite
really
by
nice.
far. That's why I like
Hmm.
use it and breed it into everything because that's like
Hmm.
honestly why I started breeding was I found that plant and I didn't want to lose it. So I figured if I bred it into everything, I could probably find it again.
Is that is that Bodie or where'd you get that?
Bodie, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. And it's he sold a bunch of a different cut. This one specific, he sold like the guava cut of Stardog. This
Yeah.
is specifically Corey's cut.
Okay.
So it's a slightly different than the one that was for sale. This one I think was like a limited edition that I got from his dog was sick or something, so they did a fundraiser and I bought a
Yeah.
sweatshirt and they sent a pack of seeds, that deal. And
Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, he sent it as limited release, which is cool.
Dude, that's so dope. I just got a good homie sent me the Mango Bichet by the 88G13 that he always works with, and like, bro, like I'm pretty excited. I'm probably actually gonna give that to Canadian devs to look through maybe. Um,
Yeah.
What
if he's got room, but
I have a pack of that I haven't ran yet. Been
yeah, I
size
saving.
mean,
wise? What do you guys' seed collections look like? Are you hoarders or do you fucking are you pretty responsible?
no,
I have a fridge for it.
I have my own fridge for my seeds, and it's like I didn't buy stocks or Bitcoin or anything. I just bought seeds. So like my entire life savings is wrapped up in seeds in like eight very large Tupperwares in a fridge that doesn't get opened.
That's funny, man. Fucking Brown Bag was the first guy I ever saw buying seeds like that. Like I fucking when I first went out to the convention things, there would be a whole bunch of breeders there. Like, dude, I walked around with that dude and just watch him like back to the ATM max out, back to the ATM max out, like fucking. But I've never, and like eventually it'd stop spitting out money, even though it'd have money in there. Like you get mad that you couldn't buy more. I'm like, like what? I don't know how many facilities you're planning on running, man. But like, fuck, yeah,
Man, they're valuable. It's timing. You just hope how long is the game of musical chairs? How many chairs are there? Is the real like question. You know what I mean? Like, are they going up in value? Are they going down in value? And everything's differently. And I think that I think there's still a lot of game to be played in the development of global cannabis. And I think like genetics have value. Um, and
yeah.
like I
Definitely.
think like I don't know if I don't think compound genetics has as much value as Bodhi's. That's my opinion. But like I don't think that uh, fish scale will stand the test of time, like an 88G13 or something like that.
Hmm.
But like you know, they're just little lottery ticket snapshots in time. So what you do with them is kind of up to you. And like I was talking to a guy about genetics the other day who has like an insane amount of cuts that he's been collecting for a long, long time. And he's like, man, I have no problem selling these to anybody because I've given my cuts away to other people before and I've told people how to grow them and they can't grow them like I can grow them. So like I don't even care. Like I'll go head to head with you. It's gonna look different. And so like I think that that's how we can separate ourselves with that is like, you know, just outwork them.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I have that Pops Deuce putting in work.
Bro, that Pops Deuce is gonna make a name for itself and potentially yourself. What
Yeah, I would fucking
are there any others packs that are like calling your name to like look through? Like or better yet, like flavor profiles. Like have you conquered grape? Are you done with grape and ready to move
no,
on?
no, no, no,
Oh
no, no,
my
no.
god.
Listen,
Are
bro,
you serious?
grape and complex gas. That's it. That's
It's
my
not
lane,
even
bro. That's my
you don't
fucking
want to go
lane.
to
I've like
stone fruit.
I've bought at least 6 packs of like expensive grape terps since finding that.
Just deeper. See if it can be better. That's
Bro,
nuts.
I have so many fucking things that say grape on the fucking pack. I just have like 3 gallon baggies stuffed full of seeds in my fucking terp fridge, and yeah, at least 25% minimum say grape. I would say probably closer to like 35-40% at this point. Somewhere on that within the
Yo,
something.
who is breeding all this grape, man? And is there like certain lineage that you're looking for?
So a lot of it is grape pie crosses. That's where like a lot of it stems from. The grape pie
General.
wedding crasher type
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
the fucking
yeah.
the Sunday driver. But like you have to be careful because you'll find a lot of piperine. And I don't know if that exists within cannabis or not. Like, that could be something that we're not really testing for. But I'll tell you what, I smell that 100% fucking exactly sometimes on the Sunday driver crosses. Piperine, black pepper, whatever you want to call it, right?
Uh,
Um, yeah, it's weird. So,
Interesting.
but like, yeah, I mean, I like just everything. Like, that's, Brown Bag has sent me a whole bunch of random shit that I've never heard of. It'll be like grape icicles or like fucking, purple soda water, but like just anything that's within the name of any of that, or like if it has like a grape somewhere back in the lineage, it's like, I'll throw that one in. So like, and then on top of that,
Interesting.
so I have a whole bunch of grape cream cake crosses. I bought 2 more packs of the TTRS. Um, Yeah, so I have a whole bunch of stuff from Bloom. I just grabbed like the grape octane, menthol, Wilson from Mace. What else? Yeah, just basically, and I'm trying to get some good Colorado. But here's the deal: every time I go to scoop Colorado, it's something weird. It'll be like a chocolate something, something. It's like, bro, I know you have great grape terps. I want your grape terps. Like, yeah, like I don't know.
Oh
So
god.
eventually, I'm gonna have a nice stock of Colorado in there too with his fucking grape crosses. But yeah,
Yeah.
whoever. I don't. If it's a no name, if it's a big name,
Doesn't
like
matter.
if
Yeah,
it's got
yeah.
grape, send it. I'm
Well,
I'm I'm gonna pop them
didn't
all.
didn't Terp? Yeah, Terp did all those crosses with grape cream cake.
Yeah, I got those in there.
The Terp
I
wizard.
got those as well. Which ones are you
Yeah.
popping first, Mikey?
I have Turp Wizards.
Yeah.
So the grape cream cake, papaya ones for sure. Yeah.
That's
That's
the one I've been looking at.
interesting.
I
So,
wanted
so like,
the coffee one. I want to do that mix too.
Yeah,
yeah, that
Like the
sounds good.
coffee at 5 times great cream cake.
yeah.
I'm making a cross really similar to that because I'm using the pop stews on a papaya.
Ooh.
So like I want to pop those in the same fucking hunt where like I do like 20 of the ones that I made in his full pack and just see what I can find out of there.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
The
The
people
pop
are
stews
asking
and
what the
papaya will
cross
be.
on the Pop Stews is.
Sunday driver Wilson, possibly Backcross Wilson. Fucking who knows? You know, may sound like some mess kind of sometimes. I've seen it. I've seen it both ways on packs. I've seen it Sunday driver Wilson F1. I see it Sunday driver Wilson F1 cross to Wilson F2. And I've also seen just Sunday driver Wilson F2 and it just says Pops Deuce. It doesn't say like anything other than Pops Deuce on the name. So I don't know.
I don't
Who
know if he
knows?
knows.
I don't know if he knows either, man. But yeah, I mean, I found really good terps in those TTRSs. It's like
Interesting.
I feel like the stuff that has the really fruity candy Sunday driver cut thrown into there are within the range of great things that I like. So I'm just trying to like keep on finding things kind of within that spectrum, and now I'm gonna mash them together and just solidify the grapiness.
For sure. For sure. For sure. That's crazy, man. That's dope. So you start working on grape lines. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm stoked for
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, I have a whole bunch of hilarious names in my mind for them.
That's great. They're always good when you've got a name ready for it. You know that's a good, well
Yep.
thought out one.
Fuck yeah, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited to try more of Adam and Hannah's stuff out in Maine. I think that'll be a lot of fun.
Just like since they process for other people, I find their stuff to be like a little bit more you have to go through, but like when you go through, man, you find some fucking killer work in there. Like
Yeah,
the one batch of floor root that they did, crazy fire.
yeah. And I thought that I'm trying to remember which one it was, but Symbiosis does some really nice work too. I don't know if that's his garden or not, but it's super nice work.
If they have
I haven't tried
pop, you got to try the red pop. I think he's supposed to be harvesting some soon, maybe.
yeah, I haven't tried much of the Symbiosis.
You got to try in Maine the red pop there, right?
Yep. Yeah, I tried the fresh press. Like I tried what they pressed, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. It
Mhm.
was like Kool-Aid. Was that the right flavor? It was like super potent, fruity.
Yeah, I could put it kind of on the Kool-Aid spectrum. That one was definitely nicer. I've like Red Pop intrigued me a lot, just because of the cross. And my one consulting homie out in Michigan grows it, but he took it out of his lineup. Like I thought that people would find better terp expressions than they have, but the one that Symbiosis runs is good and unique. And I haven't found that as much in some other red pops.
That times the Pops Deuce would be interesting.
Yeah, and I want people to breed with that thing because it's insane. Like I feel like it. Yeah, I feel like it's like Mach 1 where there's like things genetically wrong with it, but that make it a positive.
Yeah.
It's like it's super like the thrips that are in the flower room, like they don't really fuck with that plant at all. Like it grows such strong, aggressive stuff in every way, shape, and form. It just seems like there's like something kind of wrong with it, but like good.
Are you measuring your bricks levels?
No.
That'd be cool.
That's probably it. It's probably super high bricks.
Yeah.
Bugs don't like plants with high bricks.
Then this one's bricks to the max, bro.
Bricks to the max. Red Pop by Pops Deuce. CJ Merrill agrees. Red Pop by Pops Deuce would be a fun one to name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's your gassy strains that you want to work with?
So all those southern hospitalities, this is what I want, bro. This is what I want from gas, right? I don't want garlic.
Thank you.
I don't want garlic. Yeah, I want the chem spectrum. I want the skunk spectrum. I want the sour spectrum. I fucking smoke too much GMO. Yeah, I know some people still really love it. And good GMO, don't get me wrong, I'll dab it, but dude, get fucking garlic out. Everything's garlic, 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 garlic. It's just like it seems like gas is turning into garlic, and I don't like that at all. So yeah, give me some good chems, and like, but I want complexity to it, but I still want to be definitive gas. Like what I feel a lot of people are doing, like the Dosi or the GMO or whatever times these fruit strains, and you just lose too much of each one. Like I want it to be like this is gas, but there's something in there else. And I like that. Like so that's what I'm going for. And that fucking that Southern Hospitality, which is Waffle House shallot sashimi, nail on the head. So more stuff like that, and plenty more from T Beazle.
That was beautiful.
Well,
Yeah, okay.
that was like real deal. Like Dustin and Sam, I'm like, what are you looking at for next year? And they're like all sours, you know. They're like, it needs to, like, the sour needs to come back. Like, you know, the focus needs to switch away for sure. Like, I'm a garlic head. I love garlic. I can smoke GMO till the cows come home. But I feel you 100%. I feel you on that.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is so the RP1 that I'm gonna bring up with me, man. You'll fucking love that. And that's actually like out of my downstairs, which sometimes can embolden it even a little more. I don't get the yields quite as high as I do out of the upstairs, but
He's asking if you got the hospitality at the C and D, but I assume that you hunted that yourself. So I'm gonna
yeah,
say
so
no.
I bought the pack up at Coffee and Donuts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Dope.
but yeah, no, I hunted that in with my big R&D hunt. So that's like and that was one that, you know what, I threw in because I just needed something. Like I had all the ones that I really wanted to run, and then I was just like, all right, just like
Only
grab
that
something.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, and I fucking went with that, bro. And like, I found one funk banana guava. I found one pop stews, and I kinda found some other things that like, they're great, but like they're. And then I found 3 motherfucking Southern hospitalities that are definitive keepers, like
That's
fucking definitive. Yeah,
out of 10 or out of 6.
I see. I think it was either 10 or 12, but it was regs. So like, bro, it
Yeah,
wasn't.
so 6.
Yeah, I think I had 5 phenos that I washed.
That's cool, man. You got 3 winners.
Yeah,
That's wild. That's
they're
super
insane.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and like even now, the like I'm growing them full size, not R&D size. Vigor on them, stretch, and like everything looks like it's gonna be great. It looks like they're gonna get really good biomass. Like it doesn't seem like they're gonna have any issues. The one seems slightly less pest resistant, but the other 2 seem like really resistant against any thrip damage. And like, yeah, I'm super
Awesome.
stoked with them. Yeah.
That's awesome, bro. It's crazy what you can do in the backyard of Compton.
Right? Yeah.
It's wild. Just
Yeah.
puts everything into perspective a little bit.
And that's the thing, like, you know, just like your show, bro, fire is fire. Like that's
Yeah, man.
people want to talk shit on salts or organics or fucking LEDs or sun grown or full term or what, like this and that. It's like, bro, let's smoke it.
It's done well. Yeah,
Yeah.
smoke it.
Yeah.
Proof is
Like,
in the
yeah.
pudding.
Did you grow the solo cup with salts? Is it still fire? What fucking ever, bro? Let's watch it. Like,
Yeah, exactly. What about you, Tom? What term profile are you going for this summer in your breeding?
I'm not necessarily out searching for anything. I just have a bunch of stuff I'm looking to run through and get to learn.
Papaya stuff or like
yeah, I mean I love tropical. So there's one that I just finished that's the full melt star dog. I'm calling it, what am I calling it? Tropical sunrise. And it kind of is like, it's like papaya guava. The Stardog kind of puts off like this rotten tropical fruit. Like the gas side of it's kind of just like funky tropical fruit. But then, yeah, so I've been enjoying that one. I'm about to hash a bunch of that. Uh, and then I just keep I'm on to F3s of the Star Dog, and I'm running through those and just seeing what recessive traits I can find. Um,
Anything
just
specific
kind
that
of
you're looking for?
the guava flavor. It kind of is either super gassy or it's. I've had a couple go real guava, and I'm trying to bring that trait out in the line. And then the Star Dog just has like a really nice texture, super sandy, easy to work, but it's really melty. And
Are you
like
filial breeding on that?
what's that?
Are you filial breeding or are you back crossing?
I'm Philia. I'm working down the lines. I'm finding a different
Okay.
male. Um,
Okay.
but I'm keeping pollen too, so like if I want, I can go back
Yep.
if it's still good. But and I also
Using
still have a
pollen.
couple seeds from the original pack of Bodhi. Um,
So
so yeah, I don't know. I'm just not really searching for anything, just kind of looking through and getting to know what I have.
So I'm gonna be popping on the gas stuff, right? So they didn't really list fucking whatever Coupe de Ville, I believe it is. Yeah, Coupe de Ville from Down with Dirt. He did that the Ghosted. Excited to see what comes of that.
Nice.
what's the coop? I haven't
Road
heard of
Dog
any of
crossed
that.
with Betty White, and Betty White is uh the white OG crossed to Girl Scout cookies.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Have you guys done
yeah.
much work with
He
Swamp
like
Boys stuff?
Wanted to, I haven't though. Looked at a lot of their gear.
Yeah.
Have you?
Some of their gears. I no, I have a few packs, but they've always intrigued me. Like their work with the white and then their banana. I've heard like super crazy things about, and I just like so many beans. You just got to choose which ones you want to pop.
Yeah, it's hard. It's
It
hard.
is.
I had a really wide variance on the Swamp Boys ones that I popped. Like super wide variance on profile, super wide variance on structure, super wide variance on fucking when they finished. Found some heat in there though. Found one that washed really high, and I found one that I personally like a fucking ton. That's one of my eventual four keepers. I gotta figure out which one of the 7 hash brutalities I want to get rid of. I'm only gotta keep 2. And then the funky banana guava and the pop stews are the only 4 cuts that I'm keeping after June.
Nice.
I'm giving fucking cuts of everything to everyone around me, so like
It's
if I want them back, I can get them back.
the way to do it.
Mhm.
Well, I'm gonna drop off. I gotta keep doing some homework. Good chatting with you guys though.
Good
Yeah,
chatting with you,
Tom.
brother.
Later, guys.
You want to fucking do a dab and call it?
Do a dab and call it. Let's do it.
Cool.
That was dope chatting to Dutch. Anytime I can help that guy out, I'm happy to.
Yeah, man. I felt like the whole talk tonight was a fucking for anybody that was listening was getting
Bro, there was some
some good
fucking
stuff.
free consulting from each of us. For sure.
Yep. Yeah. Enjoy it. If you know any Chads with tons of money that they want to spend, let me fucking know.
Yeah. I remember where you heard it, but
Yep.
chances are you won't. But that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. No, most people are just gonna parrot that shit for their own benefit. But like,
Bro,
cool, man.
I turned this kid on. This kid that like used to be in like the chef game and then like COVID hit and got out of it and then turned him on and he like he sat in the rooms listening to all of us heads talk for like 3 months and then he just like straight turned on us and just started like mimicking all these things that we all said, and we're like, yo, you haven't done that, you haven't lived this at all, and like it's just disgusting. Some of these people in this industry, man, it's disgusting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm hoping there's a whole bunch of fucking traditional market people that are gonna take any fucking knowledge that was useful and run
That's
it
what
to
I hope.
crush those corporations, bro.
That's what
Fucking
I hope, bro.
stab them into the ground.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. It's so funny when I like do these lives, and like people from my past like come into these rooms, and you just like see them pop in and out, and you're like, oh man, that's so funny. Like they haven't seen me in a minute, and then they see me, and I'm all this. It's crazy because like I have the same like this is my government name Instagram. I have the same Instagram for like ever. So it's like people who like babysat me when I was a friggin' kid and shit jumping into these lives, and I see them jumping in and out, and it's pretty funny. I get a good laugh out of it.
That's why I'm pumped to do the veggie growing shit here, just so I can fucking put that on my regular Instagram. Like, look at this cool shit I'm doing.
For sure, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, fucking U.S. needs to get there a little bit before I put my government name on my fucking wheat growers, you know?
Yeah. I was just like fuck it, I'm all in. You know what I mean? Like if you're gonna take me, take me. I'm ready to go. So fuck you. I just don't care.
That's it's dope that you get to do that, bro. You know what I mean? Just be like, yeah, like
Yeah, yeah,
this is me and this is what I'm doing, motherfuckers.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, once I'm able to be in a position a bit more like that, man, I'm really looking forward to a few parts of it.
Yeah, it's somewhat liberating. A little nervous when you travel, but somewhat liberating.
I'm gonna end it with a fucking nice dab. Got number 18. With some
Yeah, man.
snacks.
It was great chatting with you. I'm sure we'll be on again soon. Everybody, thanks for rocking with us. Talk to you soon, Mikey.
Night,
Later,
brother.
brother.